Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated. Welcome back to Nerds Amalgamated. This week we've got an update on the Stop Killing Games initiative, the Xbox layoffs, orcas feeding humans, and I've lost my notes. Shoot, what was your topic, DJ?
My topic was Brad Pitt's advice to young actors. His advice was basically, don't do superhero movies.
Okay, so kicking things off, Stop Killing Games update. The initiative has reached 1 million signatures.
Yeah, yeah, 1 million. We did it. We've done it.
Well, there's a catch.
What?
Anyone who did it wrong will be invalidated.
Uh-huh.
And there were people sharing methods on how to fraudulently sign the petition.
God damn it!
So really, it needs to be as high as possible. So don't stop signing.
I feel like singing that song now, like, don't stop us now, cause I'm having a good time, and Ross just starts dancing to the song.
You know, I get the impression Ross is more of a heavy metal than a Queen guy.
Yeah.
From watching his videos.
Fair. But big props to the guy, man. I mean...
Yeah, 1 million signatures is no small achievement.
Yeah.
And it's not some silly change.org petition. It's a legitimate government petition.
You also have to thank Pirate for his quote-unquote hand in this.
Yeah, for someone who doesn't want to be part of it and thinks it's a bad idea, he keeps coming back to it.
Yeah, have you seen I've seen some stories about it, and my god, like
I saw his recent tweet that's basically boils down to, fine, if you want me to be the villain, I'll be the villain.
And I saw him distancing himself from the studio that he was a part of.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Oh, I know,
people harassing him personally.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing though. Like they're saying that his game's been review bombed to shit and whatnot, but I haven't seen a lot of review bombing. It's just one conflicting report, and that's it. Like there's not much to look at per se. You know what I mean? If it was a review bomb, there'd be all of his other games should be review bombed, but it was just one game. That's it.
I mean, I have no idea what his other games are. I only know of Heartbound and that he used to work on World of Warcraft.
Yeah. And then he also today gave Pirate also gave another statement, quote unquote, saying, "I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything that you asked for, but nothing you wanted, and I'll leave it there."
Yeah, but he keeps coming back to it. It's like, your thing sucks, go away, but he keeps coming back. Like, you're the one who keeps dragging yourself back into this, really. I know people are harassing him, but he does have it set up to ban people, bring it up in his streams.
And he's also been deleting YouTube comments as well for his videos.
Yeah. So, you know, I can get deleting the harassing comments and not wanting to go into it again, but at that point, just walk away.
But yeah, with Pirate Software's involvement in this, Ross was saying on the video that his I think what the damage that Pirate has done has been dissipated with this amount of support.
Yeah.
But like the flippin' Hydra, cut off one head, another grows out.
Yep, we now have a response from, I had it here. It's all in different pages of notes, so just to be
It's from I have it with me right now if you want me to read it.
Yes, Video Games Europe. Go on, read it.
So they said they just sent a statement saying, "We appreciate the passion of our community. However, the decision to discontinue online services is multifaceted, never taken lightly, and must be an option for companies when an online experience is no longer commercially viable. We understand that it can be disappointing for players, but when it does happen, the industry ensures the players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. Private
Which,
ser- Oh,
to
sorry.
be fair, there's no consumer protection laws that they have to follow. That's the whole point of Stop Killing Games. It's like they're following the law, which is that there is no law. So let's make a law so that they have to give you some warning, or they have to do something.
Hmm.
And of course, Video Games Europe are saying, yeah, of course we follow the law, that there is law.
They also said here private servers are not always a viable alternative options for players, as the protections we put in place to secure players' data, remove illegal content, and combat unsafe community content would not exist and would leave rights holders liable. In addition, many titles are designed from the ground up to be online only. In effect, these proposals would curtail developer choice by making these video games prohibitively expensive to create. Which
Oh
I
no,
think
the CEO might not get his pay rise this year.
I was thinking more
Did
like,
you see just after EA fired a bunch of people
yeah,
and the average wage of the EA employee has dropped, the CEO got a pay rise?
are you serious?
I am serious.
Oh,
But the
oh,
other point from that segment, the remove illegal content and protect players' data, well, that all falls onto the server operator.
hmm,
It it's not going to come back to the game developer. Just like there are any time somebody makes a website based on Lemmy, which is a Reddit alternative, it's a decentralized Reddit alternative that anyone can run their own Lemmy server and basically have a Reddit type website. The developers of Lemmy aren't getting in trouble because someone uses Lemmy to host illegal content or his data. That's just a completely disingenuous argument.
yeah.
If
Uh,
anyone's going to get in trouble, it's the people committing the crime, not the people who created the.
And what's fascinating about this, they're trying to pin this whole, they're trying to pin it all on the whole, oh, what if what if people are offended by stuff that's in the by the content that's illegally inserted in, like mods and whatnot.
No, they're not. They're talking about like illegal content being shared in chat in a game hosted on somebody's server.
Oh yeah, but then there's always the unsafe community content like mods and whatnot. Like remember, I remember a couple of mods they did for The Sims, for example. Remember how they were like the DEI remover or something like that, and and when they found out about it, the modding websites all deleted it.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I think that's a different thing to what they're talking about here.
Hmm.
I think for the most part, unless the mod is something like that that reflects poorly on the developers, then developers don't care too much about modders. It's mostly the business side who don't want modders to create content that they didn't.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is manyfold, but it comes down to we can't let people make their own content because then we won't make the money off it. To, well, a number of other things, but it all boils down to whether people should be allowed to make modded content. And Stop Killing Games, by allowing people to run their own servers, will allow them to use modded content.
Yeah.
Like a game like Helldivers 2, you can't mod because it's all online. But if you could download your own server for Helldivers, and you could mod it as much as you want.
Yeah.
Well, not as much as you want, there's no modding tools, but
They'll be
someone would
give.
figure it out if they cared to make a mod for Helldivers.
It's like it's like, yes, I will not. It's like the companies want they don't want the gamers to have unfettered access, essentially.
Yeah. So I suppose you might be right that they're talking about mods, but I think it's mostly about the sort of content that gets uploaded in the game, as
Yeah.
opposed to mods, which are from third party websites uploaded in other places. It's
Hmm.
when you have something like Minecraft, where if you want, you can build giant models of human anatomy.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And it's a weekend, so there go the hoons again. But I'm still not sure if that comes through on the audio. I should check that sometime. I think it does if I'm speaking. But anyway, there's a bit of a joke that goes around in the game developer community. Basically, if you create something that has community content, how long will it be until someone tries to make a penis?
What's the general answer?
Basically, immediate. So, like Nintendo has a reputation for being family friendly. They have spent so much money and effort trying to create a system for chat that prevents penises. And I've said penis way more times this Sunday morning than I had planned.
Oh, Professor, it's Church Sunday. What are
Yes,
you
Church
doing?
Sunday. I'm an atheist, I'm going to hell anyway.
Think of the poor, poor children, Professor. Think of the poor, poor children. and and they and the lobby group has ended by saying, "We welcome the opportunity to discuss our position with policymakers and those who have led the European Citizens Initiative in the coming months." Like hell, they'll do it.
I mean, yeah, that's the most wishy washy line in the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that they're going to come into these conversations with any intention to compromise.
Mind you, this lobby group, if you look at the website, their members comprise of, drumroll please, Activision, Bandai Namco, EA, Embracer Group, Epic Games, ESL, Faceit Group, Level Infinite, Microsoft, Netflix, Niantic, Nintendo, Riot Games, Roblox, Sega, Sony, Square Enix, Supercell, T2, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers, and Cinemax.
So, yeah, mostly developers who are working on live service games who don't want us to have access to our own servers.
That's the irony, isn't it?
No, it's not ironic. Of course, the people who are being targeted by Stop Killing Games are going to respond this sort of stuff.
What is fascinating about this is that they just came out after Pirate did his attack. I'm like, wow, talk about timing.
Well, that's because up until the most recent drama, there hasn't been a risk of the initiative passing. It took this last push in the last few weeks for the initiative to crack 1 million signatures.
Yeah.
It probably, looking at the trajectory, it probably wasn't going to make it to 1 million signatures without this last push.
So, given what we've witnessed now, could you see what the lobby group has said, kind of like passed aside in a sense?
As in, do I think the lobby group has any weight behind it?
Yeah,
Yeah, of course it does. It represents the people who Stop Killing Games is asking to stop killing games.
yeah.
So, yeah, they have a very good reason to be against Stop Killing Games, and
Mm.
they have weight behind them. But on to our second topic for today, the
Yep.
recent Xbox layoffs. Xbox has, well, Microsoft in general, but from the Xbox team and game developers at Microsoft, there have been something like 4% of developers fired in this latest round of layoffs. And that's up to entire teams. So the report is that 50% of Turn 10, who created Forza Motorsport, have been fired. And so many people have been fired from other teams that entire games have been cancelled.
Yeah.
So some of the things that have been cancelled are Perfect Dark remake, Everwild, Codename Blackbird, which is an MMO by ZeniMax, who made Elder Scrolls Online. And to put that number in perspective, the 4% of Microsoft is about 9,000 of these.
What's
So that
funny
is
about
a
oh,
lot of people out of a job suddenly.
what's funny is though some of the revelations that came out ever since the layoffs were announced, like Perfect Dark, for example. Remember that reveal trailer that came out for Perfect Dark?
Yeah, the one that was really well received.
Yeah, turns out it was fake apparently.
Oh,
Some of the stuff were fake, and others were just yeah, they were real.
so what? It was a CGI trailer.
Yeah, I think so. They also canceled the Forza Motorsport. I also heard Halo Studios got hit as well.
Yeah, that doesn't entirely surprise me. If yeah, they renamed themselves from 343 Industries.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't entirely surprise me that Halo has been cut because Halo Infinite wasn't particularly well received. But as an aside, whatever's been going on at Halo for the last 10 years, I mean, they can't stick with a story. It feels like they keep flip flopping between different things and not resolving any of the long standing plot points that are being brought up. But this is going to have some impact on the broader gaming space. It could actually be the end of Xbox hardware. We'll
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
see, but Microsoft might not be making Xbox hardware anymore, considering the lackluster sales of the Xbox Series consoles, and that they've announced that all of their exclusive games will eventually come across to Sony, and that they all release on PC as well, which makes sense. Microsoft owns PC, they own Xbox, except for us Linux users. You don't own me, Microsoft. So, but they make a profit whether it's a sale on PC or on Xbox, and they also make money from the sale of Microsoft PCs and of Xboxes. So it makes sense to do cross-platform for Microsoft. Sony has been doing cross-platform, so we might be approaching the end of Xbox hardware. Sony hardware, I could see keep going for another
Few
few
decades or
years.
two, yeah.
But then we've got the Xbox Ally that was announced the other day, a couple of weeks ago, which is a ROG Ally with an Xbox skin on it. So does that mean that Microsoft is now going for third parties? They don't make their own hardware, but they'll ship on third party hardware?
I mean that's the case now with some of the Xbox exclusives going to other consoles and whatnot.
Well, my
So I
point is specifically about hardware.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was trying to say. Like, if that's one, it's one thing that games are going exclusives are going to third party stuff, going to PlayStation and stuff. I mean, it's free for all for hardware. I'm guessing.
Yeah, Xbox exclusives going to Sony, Sony exclusives going to Xbox. You might have seen in the last couple of days, Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox,
Yeah,
which has
yeah.
been Sony exclusive for a bit over a year. So, yeah, what is the future of hardware? I don't think it's great. I think Microsoft are going to move into shipping with third party hardware. Sony is going to have basically no competition for gaming hardware, and they will raise the price of PlayStations as high as they can because they're already high, but they have a bit of competition from Microsoft. And they also rely on getting people locked in the PlayStation ecosystem. Once you buy a PlayStation, you're buying all of your games through Sony and they get a cut.
Although, mind you, what about PC companies coming into the fold, like Nvidia and AMD and stuff? Do you reckon they could take over the hardware wars? I mean, they're doing really well with the PC hardware.
Well, that's the thing. An Xbox Series and a PlayStation are
Hmm.
basically AMD PCs anyway.
Yeah.
They are essentially an AMD CPU with an AMD graphics card for a mid range at the time they released. They're a few years old now, but they were a fairly mid range build when they released. And the main advantage they have is the lower price because they're sold at a loss because they want to get you locked into their ecosystem. And Xbox has just failed at that in the last couple of generations. Why would I buy an Xbox when they have no games?
Yeah.
Not that I think cross platform games are a bad idea, but they just have no exclusives that are worth playing. I don't buy a PlayStation because I know that any exclusive that comes out on PlayStation is going to come out on PC in a year or two, and I've got enough games to last me the rest of my life, probably. Thanks, Humble Bundle. So I'm not buying a console just to play one or two games and be locked into Sony's ecosystem.
So, are we seeing the end of the console wars as we speak,
Yeah,
or
yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
yeah?
This could be the end of the console wars.
My God.
We might see we've got the low end covered by handhelds like the Steam Deck, the Ally, etc. There's half a dozen of those now. The mid range will be covered by Sony, and they'll charge whatever they want, really, because there's no competition in that space without Microsoft. And the high end will be PCs, and they'll be dominated by Nvidia because doesn't matter how good AMD parts are, people keep buying Nvidia for some reason. I'm not saying that because I'm a salty AMD fanboy. I'm just confused why people keep buying Nvidia and Intel, considering the last couple of generations, Nvidia can't stop catching on fire, literally,
Yeah, yeah, I remember
and
that.
Intel keeps having QA problems that result in your parts dying a slow death. Like at the moment, if somebody asks me for advice on building a computer or buying a laptop, I'm recommending them not to get Intel because the last couple of generations of Intel CPUs has been so iffy
Hmm.
with things like it all seemed to start a couple of years ago now. They had a quality assurance issue where there was contamination in the production line of some sort, causing the oxidation inside the chip. And that would kill them after 6 months or a year, if you were lucky. They reckon they fixed that, but then they had issues with chips pulling too much power. And the problem with a chip that pulls too much power is that it literally cooks itself. And then the chip would die after 6 months or a year.
Shit.
And they reckon they've fixed that now, but I don't think it's been long enough to trust them yet. And Nvidia has the 12-volt high power connector, and that will melt down for no good reason. It basically draws too much power, gets too hot, and starts to melt. And in the worst case, burns your house down.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So, what does this mean for the gaming community at large? Given all the news that we've seen so far with in regards to Stop Killing Games and the Microsoft layoffs, like you reckon we're seeing a bit of a crossroad moment?
Yeah. Yeah, this is our crossroads where the price of hardware is going to go up massively. And this is our best chance to get some sort of law put in about whether we actually own our games or not. So, yeah, they're two separate things that both happen to be coming to a head at about the same time.
It's like a
And
spectrum at
seeing,
this point.
sorry?
It's like a spectrum at this point. Like you get the good news and you get the bad news.
Yeah. And seeing all of these layoffs though, I'm hoping for a indie renaissance. You might remember the last video games crash, which happened in the early 2010s, and how indie gaming took off around then. And for that, I'm hoping we'll need less powerful hardware because indie games don't have the budget to really push. Look, I'm disappointed that we won't see as many big projects really pushing hardware, like the crises of our generation,
Oh yeah.
or this generation, perhaps. But ray tracing, I haven't seen anyone actually use it for a gameplay reason. It makes the lighting look slightly prettier in most cases. Some cases, I can't even tell the difference. Now, just, yeah, go and roast me for that. Say I have pleb eyes or something. I can hardly tell the difference in Metro Exodus. And I know, what's it called? Indiana Jones and the Great Circle
Yeah.
required a ray tracing capable GPU. And yeah, I don't think anyone's actually done it in a way that is the killer app for ray tracing yet.
No. I doubt we'll see a killer app for ray tracing at all.
That's possible. But yeah, there's no killer app for ray tracing. So with indies coming out and making less demanding games, we might be in a bit of a slump where we instead get some really interesting indie games. Some things where with really experimental mechanics, and yeah, give it a couple of years, and when things are looking better, presumably development will pick back up and we'll see developers rehiring all of these people they've laid off. But until then, I hope we have an indie renaissance and see some really experimental, wacky stuff.
I'm also wondering how many companies are going to fold in this sort of crash as well.
Yeah, that's the other bad thing. It's an opportunity for companies like Microsoft and Sony to buy up as many companies as they can and get all of the IP.
But didn't they learn that the first time that was a bad idea?
No, owning IP makes you money because anyone who wants to make a game in that IP, and the entertainment industry in recent years has been all about IPs. If you can't tie it into some existing IP, you're not gonna attract a huge audience. So yeah, it's about collecting IPs so that when you want to make a sequel that will draw in a huge audience, you've got the basis ready to go.
Yeah.
But we should move on to the kind killer whales.
It sounds like an oxymoron the more I think about it.
Yeah, although it's worth noting that there isn't a recorded attack on a human by a killer whale in the wild.
I don't know. Okay. I've seen a couple of survivor stories of a killer whale that would be like dragging divers down, and yeah, and the divers will escape.
Yeah, but as far as I'm aware, that only occurs in captivity.
Oh no, this is in the wild.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of those. Anyway, while you're looking that up,
Yep. Sure.
a recent study has found that orcas, or killer whales, who are absolutely brutal hunters, like they will flip a shark upside down, which paralyzes the shark, and then eat its liver while it's still alive, will bring food to humans when they find them in the ocean. All over the world, orcas will share food amongst their pod, but also with humans. So, yeah, they will bring food up to people who are diving in boats or on the shore. And this is really interesting because it says stuff about the orcas' minds, that they're not just feeding each other. Because, yeah, there's feeding each other, which is a huge social behavior. And like how you see chimpanzees grooming each other, social behaviors are bonding for the tribe. They really help bring the tribe together. And in this case, orcas seem to think people are part of their tribe, like a cat leaving a dead mouse on your.
Ew. Okay, that sounds disturbing.
Yeah, but I've heard stories, and cats are disturbing. And the key difference is that cats are domesticated. So why do the orcas want to build a relationship with humans? We're not part of their tribe, of their pod. We're not even in the water that much. They just come up to us and are like, here, have some food.
I think it's more of the fact that yeah, we're no longer the hunting kind anymore. So yeah, we're friendly now. We no longer hunt whales.
So you think they wouldn't do this if we were still competing with them for whales?
Yeah. Yep.
I guess I can see that if they have excess food left over from hunting whales.
Oh, by the way, it's I just found out it wasn't a killer whale, it was a pilot whale that dragged the person down.
Okay, that's a very different thing.
Yeah. I mean, normally killer whales they're territorial, aren't they? Most animals, they're always
Uh,
territorial, aren't they?
I'm not sure about killer whales. I do know that they have their pods and maybe they're territorial outside of their pods, but I'm not sure about that killer whales.
Yeah. I'm seeing some of the notes for the analysis. They said it's a strict criteria. They have each case the whales have to be had to have approached the people on their own and dropped the item in front of them.
Yeah, so basically they don't want people going in and harassing the orcas into dropping food.
Yeah.
They want cases where the orcas initiate the exchange.
That would have been interesting to see how they analyze the evidence Because it's hard to do it with. It's hard to ask the tourist like, "Hey, here's a GoPro camera. Go and record some evidence for me." And the tourist will be like, okay."
Yeah, well, here's a quote from the actual study. They don't believe that it's play because play is most often engaged in by juveniles, and all age killer whales were making offerings. And the food was whole in half of the cases. In 76% of cases, the whales recovered the food after the people didn't accept them and went on to share them with the pod. And also, the interactions were only about 30 seconds long. So, whales are coming up to people, and orcas, they're not whales actually, were coming up to people, dropping off food. When the human's like, "You gross, why would I want a raw liver?" The orca comes back and grabs the food and swims away.
Some of the discussions for this are very interesting to read. Like, to quote here, the cost of sharing might be especially low when it occurs between apex predators of drastically different biomes. Killer whales and humans are unique in that we are both apex predators that historically evolved exerting major top-down forces within entire marine and terrestrial realms, respectively, but not often outside those biomes or subsequently between each other.
Yeah, there's something that's just come to mind actually. I remember reading about a Aboriginal ritual where, or hunting behavior, Australian Aboriginal people would work together with the orcas to herd prey up to a beach where they would then share the food. The hunters would butcher the prey that got beached and throw back a bunch of it for the orcas. So this might not actually be the first example of orcas bringing food to. It's a this might be an orca initiating the sort of behavior that led to that hunting behavior. But of course, this is the first time on record.
And the report also, in its discussion, also highlights the fact that due to occupying niches as apex predators of relatively large prey, the sharing of food has likely remained a stable component of social evolution of killer whale societies. In this sense, sharing may be among the most strongly selected learned behaviors within this species because of all the ways it can benefit individual fitness via different forms of reciprocity.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
A orca that is not part of a pod would struggle to survive, I think, because from what I've read about orcas, a lot of their hunting behavior relies on the pod. But let's move on. Why does Brad Pitt say not to get involved with superheroes?
So, Brad Pitt recently shared his perspective on the pressure facing young actors in Hollywood, particularly the expectation to join superhero movies or major film franchises. Speaking on the New Heights podcast, Pitt expressed both admiration for the new generation's creativity and concern about industry trends. So, here are some of the key points from it was the industry pressure, where Pitt noticed that young actors today often feel they must land a superhero role or join a franchise to succeed, a pressure he did not experience early in his own career. And his advice, which is he strongly advises against succumbing to this trend, repeatedly telling young actors, don't, they'll die, warning that such choices can lead to creative exhaustion and burnout. Creative freedom. So Pitt emphasized the importance of exploring diverse artistic avenues rather than being boxed into long-term franchise commitments, which he believes can be stifling. And he puts a personal example, which is when Brad Pitt had a brief cameo in Deadpool 2, he had largely avoided superhero films and major franchises, like with the exception of the Oceans trilogy. And finally, he says that he contrasted today's environment with his own early years, where actors were more focused on artistic integrity and wary of selling out, quote unquote. He now sees young actors as more open to different creative fields, but cautious them not to lose themselves in the pursuit of blockbuster roles.
It's all very reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Although, mind you, I mean, superhero movies are making a lot more money, so the allure of money is there.
Yeah, I think He's got good advice for artistic integrity.
Hmm.
I'm not sure about his advice for actually making money in the industry.
Yeah, because most of the young actors, the risks they encounter are such typecasting, burnout, for example, the loss of individual star power, difficulty to escape difficulty escaping franchise identity, and the pressure to conform. I mean, you look at most movie actors nowadays. It's if they're like Tom Holland, for example. You only remember Tom Holland from a Spider-Man movie. Like you don't remember him from other works of movies, do you?
Yeah, I don't know what else he's been in.
Yeah, like
On the
he's
other
in a
hand, Zendaya, who is in the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland, is in
yeah.
a whole variety of different stuff.
Yeah, which is as well. So with these implications, there are some with these factors, there are some implications. So like creative emotional burnout. So Brad Pitt warned that the early involvement in franchise or comic book films can leave young actors feeling drained or burnt out. The long-term commitments and repetitive natures of these roles can stifle creativity and lead to emotional exhaustion, making it difficult for actors to sustain passion for their craft. Which I think it's true. I mean, Tom Holland, how he didn't want to do another Spider-Man movie after so many of them.
Yeah, anyone would get bored after doing the same thing every day for 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. What's another good example of a franchise where people get bored out of it? Fast and Furious. How even though the franchise is ending, the actors, if I recall, got really, really bored out of that franchise as well. What's the other one? So typecasting was another one. Negative industry perception. So there is a risk that actors can be seen as selling out or prioritizing commercial success over artistic integrity, which can impact their reputation among peers and industry professionals. I don't know, man. I mean, given what's happening, given the amount of money people earn, I mean,
Yeah, get a superhero role and you can make enough money to not care.
yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, like my integrity is not buying my house, okay? It's not paying my bills, so yeah, to hell with to hell with you. And then there is the impact on mental health and self-image. So the superhero genre often promotes unrealistic physical ideals, which can have negative impacts on actors' body image and mental health. The pressure to maintain a certain physique and public persona can lead to stress, body dysmorphia, and other unhealthy behaviors. I think social media also has a role in that as well, in promoting that type of negative mental health and negative self image as well.
Yeah, well, that's why a lot of actors are getting social media training days.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Going to the last point. So, in terms of actors in superhero roles, become influential figures for young audiences, and their participation in promoting unrealistic standards or risky behaviors can have broader societal effects, including risk taking and dissatisfaction among children and teens who look up to them.
Well, that's a completely different topic.
Hmm. But so you reckon Brad Pitt's advice is valid in this current day and age, or you reckon he's just doing the old man yelling at the sky sort of routine?
No, I think he has great advice. I just think he's also got enough money to not care about how realistic the advice is. So, he's got great advice if you want to maintain artistic integrity and creative freedom, but he doesn't have great advice if you're trying to make money to not die.
Yeah, yeah, I see the point. Yeah, yeah, and I think the actors themselves will have to rely on the new actors will have to rely on the older generation for advice, like in terms of how to survive the entertainment industry. That's my takeaway from it.
So, just take a short break to advertise Res. We are,
Right.
as usual, sponsored by Res, the
Yeah.
gaming energy. That, let me grab my can of Res. I'm drinking a cup of it, my can of it here. It helps you maintain mental concentration and focus, relieves weariness and fatigue, decreases mental and cognitive fatigue, and reduces eye strain. All important things for gamers.
Yeah, and we also get a cut from it as well. So every can you purchase with our code word nerds at the checkout we get a cut of it, and that helps us support the channel and the podcast. So if you want to support our lovely podcast, try buy some res with our code word nerds at the checkout, and yeah, don't leave home without it.
And for our shoutouts this week, on the 3rd of July, we passed the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future, the 1985 American science fiction film directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd.
Great Scott, love that line.
My favourite line is the, why do you keep saying everything's so heavy? Is something wrong with gravity in the future? But the plot, if you haven't seen it somehow, is that Marty McFly, a teenager in 1985, is accidentally sent back in time to 1955 in a time-traveling DeLorean, where he has to accidentally prevent his parents from falling in love and has to force them to fall in love to ensure his own existence.
Hey, I love the remakes that some of the actors have done for this movie. Like Robert De Niro with no, not Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr. with Tom Holland. They remade a scene from that movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, it looks virtually identical.
Yeah, so we have long passed the time of the sequels, so into 2015. So we should have our flying cars and skateboards and holograms.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for my hoverboard. Well, although, mind you, one thing from Back to the Future has become a reality, and that's the self-tying shoes.
Yeah, but only in a limited production run.
Ah, really?
Yeah, it was just a publicity stunt.
Yeah. Oh, that was from Back to the Future too. Yeah, yeah. Still so.
The original Back to the Future movie was rejected more than 40 times because it wasn't raunchy enough.
I saw I saw a quote as I was writing the notes for this movie. I don't know whether I don't know whether I don't know whether it's funny yet weird at the same time. So
Go
in a 2018 interview, Leah Thompson said when she was a young actress starting out in Hollywood, quote very famous agent assessed her options for her. She told me, "Here's your career, Leah. Virgins, whores, and mothers." Thompson recalled with a laugh, and then I realized why Back to the Future is such a great part, because I got to play a virgin, a whore, and mother in all in one movie.
Okay.
Talk about self-fulfilling prophecy.
And who did Leah Thompson play?
He played Lorraine McFly. So that is Marty's mother?
Marty's mom.
Yeah. It took her 3 hours to get the old lady McFly makeup on her. But what you've seen the movie as well, right, Professor?
Yeah.
So what was the fuel they used to get the DeLorean up and running? It was uranium, right?
Plutonium.
Yeah, I like how Professor found a way to get plutonium and was like consulting a bunch of terrorists just to get plutonium.
Yeah, it's a highly controlled substance.
Hmm.
The government doesn't like people who have plutonium for various reasons.
Yeah, yeah. Mind you, legal reasons.
Yep. In 2010, Michael J. Fox said that strangers still call him McFly constantly. And the strangest instance was in a remote jungle in Bhutan, where a group of Buddhist monks passed him, and one of them looked at him and said, "Marty McFly!"
That's terrifying.
And Ronald
See,
Reagan quoted the movie in his State of the Union address in 1986 and said, "Where we're going, we don't need roads," which probably says something about the state of infrastructure in the US.
oh yeah, oh yeah. But what that example you said about the Bhutan adventure, man, that's the biggest example of typecasting.
Yeah, and the head of Universal Pictures wanted the movie to be called Spaceman from Pluto.
Nah, that can't be right. That would have been the terrible title.
Yeah, and on the same day in 1938, we passed the anniversary of the world speed record for a steam locomotive, set by the Mallard, which reached a speed of 202.58 kilometers per hour, or 125.88 miles per hour, which is more than fast enough to achieve time travel. It achieved the speed during a trial run of a new quick acting brake, which kind of counterintuitive there. The Mallard was hauling a 7-coach train, including a dynamometer car, which would measure its speed, and was driven by driver Joseph Duddington, who was renowned within the LNER for taking calculated risks, and fireman Thomas Bray. And they were estimated that they could have reached a speed of 130 miles per hour or 209 kilometers per hour if they didn't need to slow down for a set of junctions. So if they had more straight track, they could have gone faster.
Can you imagine a train going this fast in the Australian rail system?
Well, no.
No?
It's
I mean,
not that fast by modern train standards with things like the bullet train,
hmm.
but having ridden the train from Brisbane to Sydney and from Brisbane to Townsville, the track is just not up to that sort of speed.
Wait, but then isn't there a track in Australia that's the longest straight track?
Yeah, crossing the Nullarbor.
Yeah. Imagine going on that thing.
Yeah, you can. You can get a ride. It only costs a few $1,000s.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the only passenger train that crosses the Nullarbor these days is a luxury cruise train.
Yeah, the Indian Pacific, right?
Yeah. And the other one, which goes from south to north, which is the Garn.
Yeah.
So during the test, the Mallard, which was an A4 class, had known problems with the big end bearing. So it had been built with a stink bomb of aniseed oil, which would be released if the bearing overheated. After attaining the record speed, the middle big end did overheat, and the crew were forced to reduce speed. It had been foreseen by the publicity department, who had many pictures taken for the press in case it did not make it back to King's Cross. So the Mallard has never officially been beaten by a steam locomotive. However, it has been outrun by a German DRG Class 5, which reached 200 kilometers an hour on a flat stretch of track, unlike the Stoke Bank, which was a slight downhill. But the Class 5 hauled a much smaller track. The Pennsylvania Railroad also claims a speed record on the S1 class. And there is a project building that's the T1 class, it looks like, not the S1, must be a typo. There is a project building a brand new T1 from scratch and plan to test it to see if it can beat the Mallard. DJ, what is our messed up moment this week?
So my messed up moment for this week is covering a man who's faster than a speeding locomotive. And if you know that reference, you know it's Superman.
Of
And
course.
yeah,
Who else is faster than a speeding locomotive?
the Flash.
Yeah,
Oh.
although Superman has some serious power creep because it started with a speeding locomotive and then it was faster than a bullet and faster than a jet as things got faster and faster.
Yep. So everyone has a breaking point, a bad day or a bad day. But for Superman, yeah, he's got the worst when it comes to having having a breaking point. And when he gets a breaking, it's like really. And that happened on a comic called "What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way," where in this story, this Man of Steel encounters the Elite, a group of British heroes who act as judge, jury, and executioners. And when Superman came to blows with the Elite, he seemingly snaps and appears to kill them, all one by one. And the methods that he does it will shock you. For example, he injects one person with a poison before suffocating another guy with a high-speed whirlwind, and another one tossing another guy into orbit. And for the last guy, the leader of the group, known as Manchester Black, he basically used his heat vision to lobotomize Manchester, stripping him of all of the powers.
Ouch.
But even after that messed up part of how he lobotomized him using the heat vision, yeah, the it turns out that he didn't really kill all the Elite in the end. He basically stripped them of their powers.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a lesson. Never to that's a lesson. Everyone has a breaking point, and Superman can be messed up, especially with that heat vision of his.
Well, our wacky movie this week is Surf Nazis Must Die from the 3rd of July 1987.
And yes, that is actually the title for those who are curious.
Well, it was going to be called Surf Nazis, but They wanted to make sure that the movie wasn't glorifying Nazis.
Yeah.
When the son of a gun wielding woman is murdered by neo Nazi surf punks in the post apocalyptic future, his mama hunts them down for some bloodthirsty revenge. Throughout the movie, the swastikas are facing different directions, which also changes the meaning behind the symbol.
Yeah.
From the swastika, the Nazi swastika, to the Asian religious swastika.
Yeah. Yeah, they really messed that up.
Yes. And it also features a mural of King Crimson's debut album, In the Court of the Crimson King. So that's all we have for you this week. Look after yourselves, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next time.
Check us out on social media, on Spotify, and other audio platforms. Stay happy, stay nerdy. See you guys.